Good afternoon, everyone. I'm grateful to have this opportunity to speak with you today. Before we go any further, I want you to stop for a moment and think about your mind. Think about the thoughts you carry every day, because those thoughts influence how you see the world, how you respond to problems, and ultimately, the choices you make. Here's something you need to understand. Mental strength isn't something reserved for people who are simply born strong. It is something you can build. Just like a muscle, your mind becomes stronger through consistent training. Today, I want to share 5 mental practices that can help you develop greater control over your thoughts, face difficult moments with courage, and become someone who can look at adversity and say, "You may challenge me, but you will not destroy me." Life will test every one of us. That isn't a matter of possibility, it's a matter of time. The real question is whether your mind will be prepared when those moments arrive. These practices are not meant to be admired from a distance. They are tools, and tools only become useful when you actually use them. The first practice is visualization. Ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you imagined yourself achieving something with complete clarity? Not casually thinking about it for a few seconds, but actually stepping into that future in your mind. What is the goal you are chasing? Maybe you want to pass an important exam, build a successful business, complete a marathon, recover from a difficult chapter, or become a stronger version of yourself. Whatever your goal is, learn to see yourself already moving toward it. Before many achievements become visible in the real world, they are rehearsed internally. Think about elite athletes. When pressure rises and the entire world is watching, they don't depend only on physical preparation. They have mentally rehearsed those moments countless times. They have imagined the pressure, the fatigue, the mistakes, the final moments, and themselves continuing anyway. That is why visualization is more than positive thinking. It is a form of mental rehearsal. When you repeatedly create a detailed picture of success, you begin developing familiarity with the person you want to become. Your decisions start reflecting that vision. Your behavior begins moving in the same direction as your goals. But don't visualize only the victory. Imagine the difficult parts too. If you're preparing for a marathon, picture yourself reaching the point where your legs are exhausted and the finish line still feels distant. Imagine the temptation to quit. Then, see yourself continuing. Feel the discomfort, acknowledge it, and picture yourself moving forward anyway. That mental preparation can change how you respond when reality becomes difficult. Instead of thinking, "I can't handle this," your mind has already practiced saying, "I've been here before, keep going." Visualization does not promise an easy life. It prepares you for a challenging one. If you cannot imagine yourself succeeding, doubt can quietly influence your actions. But when your vision becomes clear and your belief becomes stronger, you begin carrying yourself differently. You approach challenges with greater confidence because mentally, you have already taken those steps. And this belongs to you. You don't need to be an athlete, CEO, or extraordinary performer. If you have a dream, a goal, or simply a desire to become better, visualization can become part of your preparation. See it, feel it, rehearse it. Let that vision become familiar. Your mind can either become the place where your limitations grow or the place where your possibilities begin. The second practice is meditation. We live surrounded by noise. Phones vibrate, notifications appear, responsibilities pile up, and everyone seems to want our attention at the same time. Eventually, all that stimulation makes it difficult to hear your own thoughts. Meditation gives your mind a chance to breathe. It isn't about forcing every thought out of your head or pretending your problems don't exist. It is about learning that a thought can appear without controlling your reaction to it. You begin creating space between what happens and how you respond. Ask yourself, when was the last time you sat quietly for 5 minutes without checking your phone, solving a problem, or rushing toward the next task? Constant activity has a cost. When your mind never gets a chance to slow down, your concentration suffers, your decisions become less thoughtful, and stress begins to feel normal. Meditation teaches you to remain steady even when life around you is not. Think about someone whose work demands extreme concentration, such as a surgeon. In moments where a single decision can matter enormously, panic and distraction cannot be allowed to take over. That level of calm is developed through practice. You can practice it too. You don't need an hour. You don't need special knowledge. Start with 10 quiet minutes. Sit somewhere peaceful, close your eyes, breathe slowly, and bring your attention back whenever your thoughts wander. The goal isn't to have a perfectly empty mind. The goal is to become aware of your thoughts without automatically being controlled by them. When you regularly give your mind that space, you begin to feel the difference. You think with greater clarity. You respond instead of constantly reacting. You become more present. And eventually, you may discover how much mental weight you've been carrying, old fears, regrets, worries, and thoughts you've been holding on to for far too long. Sometimes becoming mentally stronger doesn't mean adding more to your life. Sometimes it means finally giving your mind permission to let something go. When you clear away that mental clutter, something important begins to happen. You start seeing things more clearly, and clarity gives you strength. Meditation is simply a practice that teaches you how to turn down the noise around you. The real benefit isn't just sitting quietly with your eyes closed. It's learning how to remain peaceful while life is chaotic. It's developing the ability to stop, breathe, collect yourself, and begin again with a clearer mind. That skill can completely change the way you live. It affects how you respond to pressure, how you handle difficult situations, and how you approach the challenges that appear in front of you. When you learn to create peace within yourself, outside circumstances have less power to shake you. And in a world that moves faster every day, that kind of inner stability is incredibly valuable. We need to know how to step away from the noise, even for a few minutes, and reconnect with ourselves. Now think about your own life for a moment. When was the last time you genuinely stopped and asked yourself how you're doing? Not while rushing somewhere or checking your phone, but actually sitting with your thoughts and examining your emotions, your hopes, your fears, and the direction your life is taking. Most people rarely do this. We become trapped in routines, responsibilities, entertainment, and endless distractions. We keep moving because slowing down forces us to face things we've been avoiding. That's why journaling can become such a powerful mental exercise. When you put your thoughts onto paper, you create a space where you can be completely honest with yourself. You don't have to pretend you're fine. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone. You simply allow your thoughts to come out. And something interesting happens when you write. Thoughts that once felt tangled and overwhelming begin to separate. You can look at them from a distance. Fear becomes easier to understand. Confusion becomes more organized. Problems that seemed enormous can suddenly look manageable. Ask yourself how often you've kept emotions buried because dealing with them felt uncomfortable. Maybe you've hidden sadness, anger, disappointment, fear, or even dreams that felt too unrealistic to say out loud. But pushing emotions away doesn't make them disappear. They remain inside you, demanding attention. Over time, that emotional weight can affect your confidence, your decisions, and your ability to move forward. Writing gives those feelings somewhere to go. Imagine someone experiencing a major loss or painful setback, but refusing to acknowledge what happened. They keep everything inside and continue pretending nothing is wrong. Eventually, that unresolved pain can become exhausting. Now imagine that same person beginning to write honestly about what they're feeling. They describe the pain, the questions, the anger, the memories, and the things they never had the courage to say. The situation hasn't magically changed, but their relationship with it begins to change. They can finally examine what happened, understand themselves better, and begin processing the experience. But journaling isn't only useful when life hurts. It's equally valuable when life is going well. Write about your progress. Write about the moments you're proud of. Look back at where you started and recognize how much you've already survived and accomplished. We naturally focus on what remains unfinished. We notice the goals we haven't reached and the mistakes we've made. Journaling helps balance that perspective by reminding you of the progress you often overlook. You can look back and say, I've faced difficult things before and I'm still here. Remember, failure doesn't mean your journey is over. Failure can become one of your greatest teachers, but only if you're willing to reflect on it. When something goes wrong, don't simply ask, why did this happen to me? Ask, what can this teach me? What could you have handled differently? What pattern led you there? What can you change the next time a similar situation appears? That is how a setback becomes wisdom. Journaling allows you to notice patterns in your behavior, your decisions, your habits, and even your relationships. You begin recognizing what moves you forward and what repeatedly pulls you backward. You can ask yourself difficult questions. Am I actually living according to my goals? Are my daily choices taking me closer to the person I want to become? Honest reflection leads to better decisions. And don't underestimate the small victories. Maybe you kept a promise to yourself. Maybe you stayed disciplined when nobody was watching. Maybe you showed yourself kindness during a difficult day. Maybe you kept going when quitting would have been easier. Those moments matter. When you record them, you're building evidence that you are capable of change. That evidence strengthens your confidence and creates momentum. The key is consistency. You might tell yourself you're too busy to journal, but think about how much time disappears into scrolling, watching random videos, or simply allowing your mind to wander. Even 10 minutes can be enough. When you journal, you're doing more than putting words on a page. You're taking ownership of your life. You're telling yourself that your past doesn't get to define your future, your struggles don't get to determine your limits, and you still have the ability to choose what happens next. So don't wait for the perfect time. Start with a blank page, write honestly, reflect without judging yourself. Learn from what you've experienced and use that understanding to create a better direction. Because when you understand your own story, you begin to understand yourself. And when you understand yourself, you gain something incredibly valuable: clarity, purpose, and inner strength. Now let's talk about another major influence on your mind: what you put into it. You've probably heard that the people around you shape who you become. That's true. But your mind is also influenced by the information you consume every day. Think about what you constantly feed your attention: news, social media, entertainment, opinions, short videos, endless notifications. We consume information all day, yet much of it doesn't actually help us grow. That's where reading becomes powerful. I'm not talking about mindlessly scrolling through headlines. I'm talking about books and meaningful writing that challenge your assumptions, introduce new ideas, expand your imagination, and help you understand people and the world from different perspectives. Reading isn't simply a way to pass the time, it's a way to train your mind. Throughout history, many influential people have maintained a deep curiosity about learning. They didn't stop growing once they became successful. They continued asking questions, exploring ideas, and exposing themselves to knowledge. You don't need to become famous or wealthy to benefit from that habit. You simply need to remain willing to learn. Think about the times you felt stuck with a problem. Maybe you didn't know what decision to make or which direction to take. Sometimes the missing piece isn't motivation, it's knowledge. Reading can give you that missing piece. It gives you access to experiences, ideas, perspectives, and lessons that you may never encounter through your own life alone. A single book can introduce you to an entirely different way of thinking. And the more perspectives you encounter, the more flexible your thinking becomes. You begin approaching work differently. You communicate differently. You understand relationships differently. Most importantly, you begin understanding yourself differently. You don't have to read for hours. Start with 10 or 15 minutes every day. That small habit may seem insignificant today, but consistency compounds. A few pages every day can eventually become dozens of books, hundreds of ideas, and a completely different level of understanding. Don't read simply to say you've read something. Read to challenge yourself. Read to discover. Read to improve. Because what you repeatedly place inside your mind eventually influences the person you become. And that brings me to something even more personal: the way you speak to yourself. Every day, whether you notice it or not, you're having a conversation with yourself. Sometimes that inner voice encourages you, but sometimes it becomes your harshest critic. It says, "You're not capable, you're not intelligent enough, you're too far behind, this is impossible, you'll never succeed." But here's what you must remember: a thought is not automatically a fact. You don't have to accept every negative message your mind produces. You don't have to allow fear, insecurity, or doubt to write the story of your future. You can learn to change the conversation you have with yourself. You have the ability to fill your mind with hope instead of fear, confidence instead of doubt, and possibility instead of limitation. That is where affirmations can become powerful. They are not magic words. They are a way of deliberately reminding yourself of the qualities, beliefs, and direction you want to strengthen. Stand in front of the mirror and speak to yourself with conviction. Tell yourself, I am capable, I am strong, I am worthy, I can accomplish difficult things. Those statements may sound simple, but when you repeat them consistently and begin to believe them, they can become part of your inner foundation. They give you something to hold on to when circumstances become difficult. Think about people who have faced repeated rejection and failure, but refuse to allow those experiences to determine their identity. Richard Branson is often cited as an example of someone who continued pursuing ambitious ideas despite setbacks, criticism, and uncertainty. His journey wasn't built on having an easy path. It was built on continuing to move forward when the path became difficult. That is the lesson. You will always encounter people who question you. Someone will tell you that your goal is unrealistic. Someone may criticize your ability or remind you of your past failures. The world will give you plenty of reasons to doubt yourself. But you get to decide which voice becomes the loudest. The conversation you have with yourself matters. Every day, your thoughts can either strengthen you or slowly weaken your confidence. You are constantly reinforcing an identity through the things you repeatedly tell yourself. And this isn't something you practice once. You have to return to it every day, especially when you're exhausted, disappointed, or questioning yourself. Those are precisely the moments when your inner dialogue matters most. When you look at yourself and say, I can handle this, I will keep moving, I am stronger than this moment, you're choosing a different response to difficulty. You're reminding yourself that fear doesn't have to make your decisions for you. Affirmations can help set the direction of your mind before the day begins. Instead of allowing circumstances to determine how you feel, you begin deciding how you want to respond. But there's an important distinction. Don't simply repeat words you don't believe. If you tell yourself, I am strong, while secretly thinking, there is no way I can do this, you need to work on making that statement believable. Start where you are. Say, I am becoming stronger. Say, I am learning how to handle difficult things. Say, I can take the next step. Then live according to those words. Your self-talk influences your behavior. If you constantly tell yourself that you're incapable, you'll eventually begin acting as though failure is inevitable. But when you repeatedly remind yourself that you can learn, adapt, and continue, you begin carrying yourself differently. Your posture changes, your decisions change, your willingness to take action changes. That is when confidence begins becoming real. So be careful about the language you use inside your own head. Don't spend every day attacking yourself with criticism and then wonder why you feel defeated. Give yourself words that build you. Remind yourself of what you've survived. Remind yourself of what you've learned. Remind yourself that one difficult chapter does not define your entire life. Because when you learn to manage your inner dialogue, you gain greater control over the direction of your life. And this brings us back to the bigger picture. Your mind is one of the most powerful tools you possess. It influences your decisions, your habits, your relationships, your reactions, and the goals you pursue. Before you can consistently change your circumstances, you have to begin changing the way you think about those circumstances. That doesn't happen overnight. Building mental strength requires repetition. It requires patience. It requires discipline. Some days will feel easy, and other days will feel like a battle. But the effort is worth it, because a stronger mind changes the way you experience everything else. Think about the 5 practices we've discussed. Visualize where you're going, create moments of stillness through meditation, write down and examine your thoughts, feed your mind through meaningful reading, and strengthen your inner dialogue with intentional affirmations. Practice these consistently, and you'll begin noticing changes. You may become more focused. You may react to pressure with greater control. You may become more aware of your habits and more intentional about your choices. Your relationships can improve because you're responding instead of constantly reacting. Your work can improve because your attention becomes stronger. Even your approach to setbacks can change. Transformation begins inside before it becomes visible outside. And remember, other people's opinions do not have to become your identity. Criticism doesn't determine your worth. Rejection doesn't decide your future. Fear doesn't have to control your choices. You are responsible for the effort you give and the direction you choose. Every morning, ask yourself, am I prepared to face whatever today brings? Then remind yourself that you don't need to have everything figured out. You only need enough courage to take the next step. Confidence doesn't come from applause, awards, or someone else giving you permission to believe in yourself. The strongest form of confidence is built internally. When you begin taking responsibility for your thoughts, your life starts moving differently. Of course, difficult days will still come. You'll experience disappointment, you'll make mistakes, you'll face rejection. There will be moments when you wonder whether you should keep going. Those moments aren't proof that you're failing. They are opportunities to practice the mindset you've been building. Look at yourself and remember, I am capable, I am worthy, I am enough, I can learn, I can grow, I can continue. Say it until your actions begin to reflect it, and be intentional about what you allow into your mind. Protect your attention. Read things that teach you. Listen to voices that encourage growth. Spend time around people who challenge you in healthy ways and genuinely want to see you become better. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you repeatedly plant has a greater chance of taking root. So ask yourself, what are you planting every day? Are you feeding fear, comparison, and doubt? Or are you feeding courage, knowledge, discipline, hope, and purpose? This doesn't mean pretending your problems don't exist. Mental strength isn't denial. It's not walking through life pretending everything is perfect. It's the ability to acknowledge reality without allowing reality to destroy your ability to move forward. When everything feels uncertain, you can still choose your response. When life becomes chaotic, you can return to your breath. When your thoughts become overwhelming, you can write them down. When you feel lost, you can learn. When doubt becomes loud, you can change the conversation you're having with yourself. That is how you train the mind. Practice visualization, practice stillness, journal, read, strengthen your self-talk. Do it repeatedly. Over time, you may notice that the person who once doubted everything begins to trust themselves more. The person who once avoided challenges begins facing them. The person who once felt powerless begins realizing they have more control than they thought. You don't have to wait for life to become easier before you become stronger. Start now. Take ownership of your thoughts. Take responsibility for your choices. Take control of the direction you're moving in. The strength you need isn't somewhere outside of you, waiting to be discovered. You have the ability to develop it. One thought, one habit, and one decision at a time. So ask yourself one final question. Am I ready for whatever comes next? Yes. You are capable of learning. You are capable of adapting. You are capable of getting back up. Believe in that possibility, then prove it through your actions. Because when you begin believing in yourself and consistently acting on that belief, the obstacles in front of you no longer look like walls. They start looking like challenges you can overcome.